All right, so this situation happened a few weeks ago with Major Hype, where he made some comments about Guyana and the Guyanese people that caused a firestorm, right? And I have a few takeaway from this entire situation. It's a learning lesson, and it is something that I keep seeing repeat itself over and over, and it will continue to repeat itself because of the loose sense of identity that we have. It is an identity crisis. And I'd like you to take a listen to the podcast. Once the first video finished, it's going to lead right into the second video where he did an interview with a podcast out of Guyana. Once that's done, I'm going to give you my takeaway because there is a lesson in all of this.
Yeah.
Curry chicken or chicken curry?
It's definitely curry chicken.
Okay. Oh my God.
The only person that you're going to hear say that is Guyanese people.
Exactly.
And they're not Caribbean, so.
Why are guys Caribbean?
Because it's in South America.
It's not, yeah.
We showed them love. We accepted them, but they're not Caribbean.
Yep. And in terms of Major Hype, we have some persons listening and they're following us right now, and they're asking questions too. And I know you said this will make you sort of think about your future jokes and so. And, the big question out there is, whether Major Hype himself is Caribbean, whether he has an understanding of the Caribbean culture that he takes part in and makes fun of and showcases.
Well, I don't think I would be so in depth in the culture if I wasn't a part of it. So, yeah, that's a question that answers itself.
No, but you were born in New York.
Who told you that?
Well, based on your passport records and so, you were born in the U.S. So that's not something that's being hidden.
So I mean, we could talk about that all day long about documents that's there that's not really there and all of that other stuff. We could talk about that all day long.
Yeah. So your takeaway from all of this.
But that's not the premise of the conversation and why we're here. We're not here for that.
No, but it's a part of that because, it's like, someone trying to get in the club when they can't get in, as the song says, when you're out of the club.
Well, comedically, I am the club. So, I mean, I don't know how I'm getting in the club when I am the club. Nobody represents the Caribbean like I do.
You think so?
Nobody has, of course. Nobody has done it like I've done it. And
no, but
you name
when you say nobody represents the Caribbean like you do, are you comparing yourself to the Marshall Montanos of the Caribbean, the Bujabantans of the Caribbean? Or you talk about representing the Caribbean? Oh, comedically.
Yeah, that was the word.
But there's Oliver. There's Oliver in Jamaica who's represented the Caribbean for years.
Okay, does he represent Guyana? Does he talk about Guyana and incorporate Guyana into his material?
He has over the years. In many of his skits and so.
Doing it now?
But he's older now, so he's not as active as he was before.
Exactly, that's my point. I'm the one that's doing it now.
No, but you're saying representing, but you're in fact using the culture to sell yourself.
Yes.
So it's not really you're representing.
I know in the beginning of the interview you said you were Caribbean. May I ask what country in the Caribbean you were born in that makes you align with the Caribbean?
As I said, I'm not here for that. That's not the premise of this conversation. The premise of the conversation is to show my genuine apology to the people that was offended.
The identity argument. Here's two things. Major Hype made his statement, which is not a cool thing for him to say at all. It's a sensitive matter and it set off firestorm. Some people are very upset about it. But I believe that throughout the Caribbean, we have a very loose sense of identity. And this interview showed that because they also questioned his identity. The two individuals on his podcast, they asked him multiple times where he was born. So they make it where because he's born in New York that he's not a Caribbean person, when his ancestors have already paid the cost for him to be a Caribbean man. This type of loose thinking or shallow idea of what it takes to be a Caribbean person or a man or woman of the Caribbean opens the window for disrespect. And that is why so many people whose ancestors have not been through half of what our ancestors been through on the Caribbean soil can move to the Caribbean, get a child there, and that child grow up disrespecting other people who's been in the Caribbean for generations. Whether because the person move abroad and are living over abroad, or because that person move abroad and get a child overseas this new individual whose ancestors never been in the Caribbean or been through what our ancestors been through, because he was born on the soil, him or her, they want to disrespect someone else who was born in New York. No, you can't do that. Whether he was born in New York, whether he was born in Amsterdam, it doesn't matter where he was born. He should be treated just like anybody else from the Caribbean. Because we are so quick to embrace everybody else simply because they just moved there, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, when this man's ancestors have been there for generations upon generations upon generations. So we should not be questioning his identity, and the same way he should not be questioning the identity of Guyana. That is not even up for discussion. This should not be a part of a joking conversation, because for generations, people have been trying to divide us, and right now I seen it happening at a major scale with nationalism, tribalism, and all that craziness. Because we have this loose sense of identity. So, to me, both are wrong. Major Hype should not have said what he said, and I don't think he understands up to this day that what he said is wrong, and they can't really question him and say that, hey, because you're not from the Caribbean, I was born in the Caribbean, then you don't understand the culture, because himself said that there are many people from Guyana who reached out to him and say, hey, I saw nothing wrong with what you did. Right? Which shows that there's a lot of people in Guyana and other parts of the Caribbean who do not understand the Caribbean culture itself. They may understand the music, the food, the behavior, but when it comes to the roots of the Caribbean, many people are disconnected. So they should not be questioning his identity, and he should not be questioning the identity of the Caribbean. But anyway, hopefully Major Hype learned something out of it. I think he should have simply made his apology and move on, because there are some people who are genuinely upset, and there are some people who may be hating on him. You know, they see the success that he have, and they see this as an opportunity to go after him.